Hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining Mending Me TV. I'm your host, Crystal, here to explore different aspects of spirituality with you. Through my early experiences, I've encountered moments of profound insight, and I'm here to share those with you. Together, we'll navigate spiritual landscapes of life, seeking clarity and connection. This is today's topic. We're going to be talking about a topic. Well, let me stop. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that touches all of us in various stages of our lives: the journey between being dependent and independent, and striving for independence. Whether it's a toddler insisting on trying to or on tying their own shoelaces, or an adult striving for emotional or financial self sufficiency, it's a universal thing. But what does it truly mean to be dependent or independent? Let's dive in. First, let's lay out what it means, what we mean by these terms. Being dependent means relying on others, be it for emotional support or financial assistance or our daily tasks. On the flip side, independence is about standing on our own 2 feet, making our own choices, and bearing the consequences of those decisions. Dependence, Dependency is a state where we're all familiar with, right from birth. Whether you're a child needing guidance, or an adult seeking emotional comfort from your friend or after a rough day, or maybe even needing financial help during tough times. Dependency is an inherent part of human experience. It's that invisible thread connecting us to others when we need support. But as with all things, too much dependency can stifle growth, leaving us unequipped to handle life's challenges on our own. Independence, this is often celebrated, especially in cultures that value independentism. Independentism. I'm gonna leave that alone. Remember the pride you felt when you achieved something entirely on your own? That's the essence of independence. It's about taking charge of your life and making decisions, be they wrong or right, and learning from them. It's about self reliance and autonomy. However, taken to an extreme, it can lead to isolation or unwillingness to seek help when genuinely needing help. That part, when it's talking about independence, because I'm very independent myself. When it says like it's taking it to the extreme, um, like I said, I'm very independent. I hardly ask for help for anything. Um, being around people, I wasn't taught about life. I was sheltered for 18 years. I was naive to everything around me, about who people pretended to be and how people act in the world. So I leaned more on people to guide me and to show me the ropes of life. Instead, they took advantage of me, seeing that I didn't know much. They fed me lies and steered me in the wrong direction. There was no other choice but to take control and learn to be independent. It doesn't make me feel isolated, and if I need help, I definitely know how to get it. You must be independent to take the path less traveled with God. You're not able to truly hear God when you're following someone else's life directions, because that isn't what he set out for you. Being independent is, to me, is a clear indication that you are able to sustain yourself in life. It's the path less traveled. A lot of people don't like being independent, like solely independent. They don't like that. They would rather depend on people and want people to help them and want, just someone to lean on. And I'm not going to, talk bad about it, because that was me. I was there. I didn't know how to do anything. And I had a good reasoning of like how things work, but I didn't see people doing it how I was doing it. So I thought I was doing it wrong, but I was actually doing it correctly, but seeing everyone else do it wrong. So here are some examples of being dependent and how it has an effect on you. Like needing financial help from to pay your bills. That was me. I didn't know how to pay bills. I was when my grandmother, she would just give me money. She would give me money, I would spend it, and she would give me more. So I really didn't know how to work with that and like understand how money really works. So it's stunning my growth. I didn't understand that. It hindered my personal growth and my development of skills of self confidence. I was just waiting on somebody to give me some money. I was just waiting because I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to just get it. Like, I didn't understand that. And an example is Alex never learned to cook because he always relies on his roommate. And when his roommate moved out, Alex struggled to feed himself. Alex didn't have that. He was so he just knew somebody was going to give him food. So he just didn't take the time to learn. Stunning your growth. You're supposed to learn everything in life. Always asking a friend for advice or before making decisions. Like I said, I didn't know which way was which. I just wanted to do things the right way. And that was a loss of autonomy. Consistently depending on others can result in a lack of control over one's life and decisions. An example, Jamie always asks her sister which job to take, where to live, or who to date. She realizes she realizes she's living her sister's life, not her own. When you constantly take advice from somebody else, they're giving you advice from their eyes. So if they're hurt in a situation or in a certain aspect of their life, they're going to project that onto you. And then you're going to be looking through the same lens that they're looking at. You're like, oh, well, that's going to hurt me. When in fact, that hurt them for a certain reason. And it's probably going to be a good thing for you. Relying on a partner to handle all of the household chores. That puts a strain on relationships. If one person is overly resilient, it can burden and strain the reliance, sorry, over reliant, it can burden and strain the relationship, leading to resentment or conflict. An example, Sam borrows money from his friend repeatedly and never pays back. The friend starts avoiding him. I was I borrowed. I borrowed because I didn't know how to manage money. I did not know how to manage money. And you could say that it put a strain, but I wasn't able to provide like money, but I was able to provide in a different way, like emotional support and like helping them with other things. Needing constant reassurance or validation from others. I that dependence can reduce one's ability to cope with challenges or adapt to change. Being overly dependent can make one vulnerable to manipulation or being taken advantage of. That being that I was, and I didn't know that I was doing this, but I did look for people to validate what I was doing to make sure that I was doing it correctly. But instead, they took it and twisted it, and they thought that I needed. I needed it, but it was for me to understand and to learn. I was learning. Like all these people, when in life, you're either a teacher or a student. Most of the time, people are students. Sometimes in different aspects of life, you become the teacher. I was a student in this aspect, and I had the teachers that, because I've seen that they were doing it in their life. And I'm like, okay, teach me. But instead of teaching me, they opted to spin lies and show lies and deter my growth in different parts of my life. So me trying to understand life and not necessarily knowing is asking for validation, I was taken advantage of. And what is this? An example. Annie frequently seeks validation to constantly ask colleagues constantly asking colleagues for feedback on her designs, even when it's not necessary. Just trying to and that becomes a habit. Like that validation, that sucks. Like trying, and that's a tough word. Depending on others to complete your task in life that help you build your foundation. That can be that is a loss of self-identity, because you're depending on someone else to show you. I didn't have an identity. I was relying on other people's validation to help me to understand who I was. And continuous reliance might blur individuality, leading to a diminished sense of self-worth or identity. An example, Mariah always does what her group of friends do. One day she realized she doesn't know what she personally enjoys or believes in. And with that you are dependent on what other people do, how other people act towards you and things like that to figure out who you are. And most of the times they're giving you the wrong information. They would, in my case, they would tell me they would say different lies and stuff. And I internally knew like, okay, that's not who I am. But with people around you saying the same thing, it's like, is everybody lying, or is it really true? Or is it what I feel? And in my case, it was what I felt was true. So using that negative energy, you're able to turn it around into positive energy to understand who you truly are. It's essential to understand that dependency isn't always negative. From infancy, we're inherently dependent. However, as we grow, there's an innate push towards independence. Think about teenagers wanting their own space or adults aiming for financial stability. That was a lot to say. Okay. Here's some examples of independence and how it affects you. Decision making. When you're independent, you don't have to rely on anybody else's statement, anybody else's feeling, anybody else's anything. It's all about what you feel, how it makes you feel, where it takes you, what direction you want to go in. Example, Mariah researches and decides which college to attend based on her interests and goals without overly relying on peers or parents to make the choice for her. And I see people, I think I'm gonna get to that at the end, but to see people like when they say, okay, well, my parents went here, so I gotta go here. It's like you are being dependent on what other people want for you. People can want that for you, but do you actually want to do that? Do you actually want to go there? Financially, being independent, knowing where your money going, knowing how you're getting your money, and budgeting it correctly. Jake saves money. Example, Jake saves money from his part-time job and budgets carefully to pay his own car. That helps you. Being financially knowing that you're working for your money, where your money is going, you're like, okay, well, I need to cut back on this. If I go, like, if we eat out too much, I'm like, hold on, I'm spending way too much money on this stuff. So we have to cut back and figure out where we're going, how we're going to fix that. Being independent, living alone. Since I say, since I moved out of my grandparents' home, and I think it was it was 2011 when I moved out after my grandmother died. I was I was kind of scared because I'm like, I don't know what to do. and but now that I've, gotten my bearings with everything and understanding that living alone is amazing. Like I couldn't see myself living with someone else, even though I want kind of, but I just like my free space. I like that I can just wake up when I want to. I can do what I want to. It's there. I don't have to answer to nobody. I'm good. Example, Sarah moves to a new city for her job, sets up her apartment, manages her bills, groceries, and other responsibilities on her own. It's like you just do what you have to do. With problem solving, being independent and problem solving. I thought it would be hard, but if you get to know yourself, because if a problem comes up, you're like, okay, so is this like bad for me? Is it bad for people around me? Like, what is this problem? You can actually assess the problem and not be overwhelmed with it. When I first started, I didn't know what to do. Like I said, it was just a lot of craziness because I was just um, anxious. I was more anxious because I'm like, I don't know really what to do, how to do it. But when problems come up, you just take your time with it. Not like years, but like take your time to understand what actually the problem is. An example, when David's computer breaks down, he learns how to troubleshoot it, fix the issue himself, and set up immediately seeking help. Like when I first had my son, like being a first time mom, we were at the ER all the time. If he coughed, if he burped wrong, if he anything, we were at the emergency room because I'm like, I don't know what to do. And as time went on, I'm like, oh, okay, this is this. We don't just, lay down or rub his back or whatever. Give him some water, give him some type of medicine or something, and he'll be okay. So it's just learning through different experiences and understanding that every problem can be solved. Emotional self-reliance. This is an example. After a tough breakup, Kevin takes time to self-reflect and self-care rather than hastily jumping into another relationship. Take your time. This is being independent. You can take your time and learn yourself and know yourself, know what you like, know what you don't like, know where you want to be, how you want to do it. It's time that everybody needs time to themselves. I'm gonna say that afterward. Yeah, okay. Well, I done messed up. I done lost my train of thought. But emotional self-reliance, when just taking time for yourself to know who you are, why you do things, your likes, your dislikes, just understanding things so that when you do go out and get into a relationship, you'll be able to know who you are and be able to pick a person correctly versus seeing someone that you like and molding yourself to their liking. And that's what a lot of people do. And we're going to get in relationships probably in a few other episodes. But most of the time, when you're in a relationship, you're molding yourself to someone else. But when that mold starts to break and you truly, your likes, your dislikes truly come out, it doesn't fit that person. And then that's why you have a lot of conflict in relationships and things, because who you told me you were, you're not actually that person. With travel, being independent and travel, you can go anywhere you want to. You can do it's just a beautiful thing. Like you don't have to talk to anybody about, okay, we're going to go here, we're going to do this. It's just, I can go. I can do what I want. um, example is Isaiah plans to embark on a solo trip, navigating new places and cultures on his own. Just that. Like, you can just be. Go travel, learn yourself, know what you like. You don't have to take on nobody else's action. So when you do go into that relationship, you'll know, okay, well, I don't like this type of place. I don't like these type of individuals, you know. Self-learning. As an independent person, self-learning is a huge opportunity because you can just understand a lot. It's a lot of understanding because the world is so chaotic and there's so many lies that's going around in the world that it's like you just want to learn. You just want to be a better person. Example, Alex wants to learn a new language. Instead of waiting for class, he uses online resources and practices regularly, setting his own pace. You can do a little bit here, a little bit there. You don't have to have it structured per se. And setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is a must when you're a independent person because it's more dependent people than independent. And they like to cross boundaries. They like to cross boundaries in a crazy way. And it can be overwhelming. But if you put your limits up and and don't be afraid to say no. Do not be afraid to say no. No is your best friend because they will try to peer pressure you into doing something. Being independent, setting your own boundaries, knowing who you are and knowing what you like, what satisfies you, that will help you in life. The positive effects. The positive effects of independence. You will have self-confidence. Like we talk about, you'll have problem-solving skills. You'll be resilient. You'll be self-aware of your actions and what you like, what you don't like, and everything else around you. You will know your strengths and your weaknesses, your desires and your values. I remember going to a job and like actually answering the questions, and the lady was like, "Oh, nobody ever, said that." I'm like, "Oh, I know who I am." Personal growth, taking responsibilities for your actions and your decisions. Financial stability, you don't have to depend on nobody to give you money. I seen my grandmother depended on my grandfather. And it's like seeing that was like, I'm never going to depend on a man. That's not going to be something that I depend on because I don't want you to be able to take something from me and try and hold it over my head. That's not going to be something that's going to happen. Being flexible. Individuals often have flexibility to make decisions without needing to consents or approvals, allowing the quicker actions. If I need something to be done, I can take action at that point. If I know it's good for me and my child, I can take action on that. Being satisfied. That is huge because people are not satisfied. You could tell when people are in relationships, they have like 6, 7 teen girls, not teen girls, but like 17, 18 girls, and needing them all. Like, you're the one person that you have is not satisfying you. What is wrong with you that you can't be satisfied? And people don't look into that. They just think, oh, I got all these girls. No, you're not complete. You're unsatisfied. You're not satisfied. If you need a multitude of people to satisfy you, and then you're still not satisfied, that's a big problem. With independence, you can feel isolated. I don't feel isolated. Like I've been independent for not like leaning on nobody for like 5 years. And it's been the best 5 years of my life. Like the absolute best. I can't say nothing else about it. This is the best. This is the best, the best. And I don't understand how people can feel lonely. I guess because I have God, God doesn't let me feel lonely. Being burnout, sometimes I do feel burnout, but that's because I do so much. It's like I don't feel tired, but when I do everything that I want to do and need to do, I do feel a little burnt out. Not like with classes and like just moving and shaking, it's a lot, but it's like it's a good burnout. It's not a bad burnout. Um, being independent, these are the negative things. They said that you can miss opportunities, and any missed opportunity, anything that, let me see how to put that. There's no missed opportunities because with God, God leads me. So anything that is missed for a reason. Either that wasn't for me, those people wasn't for me, that money wasn't for me. That's I will not be I will not be I was gonna say mishandled, that too. I would not be mistreated or um, talked down to or anything like that. Like those opportunities, if it's something that okay, you came at me and wanted to give me an opportunity and it's no, that's fine. That wasn't for me. That's not for me. That's not a missed opportunity. There are no missed opportunities being independent. There are no missed opportunities at all. If you miss it, it wasn't for you at that time, or it wasn't for you at all. Relationship strains. Being independent within a relationship. I'm not in a relationship, so I really can't speak on that. But I would think that it would make that person tired because if you're holding on to a dependent person and you're an independent person, that will put a strain on you. But I see a lot of relationships like that, and you see all that like tension within it. And it's like you are basically carrying a grown person that you are not letting them do or take on their full potential. I don't see that. I don't that's not no. Okay. Fear of vulnerability. Um being independent, having a fear of vulnerability. Um, let's read. An overly independent person might resist opening up or showing any form of vulnerability, even when it's beneficial to do so. That's not me. I'm still the same person. If I feel that it's a vibe, it's like a vibe. Like you can get the vibe of people, and it's like, okay, I can be vulnerable with that person. I can't be vulnerable with that person. It just depends on who the person is. If I just want to speak and I can feel that that person is going through something that they need, speaking or a word or something, I will be vulnerable with that person. Um, stress. I I just I haven't had stress in a while. And that's I mean that's thanks to God. That's all it is. That's the thing. That's a plus with God. Like that stress and depressed, that's non-existent. The weight of always relying solely on oneself can sometimes increase stress levels, especially during difficult times. I don't feel that. And I had some difficult times, but I don't feel stressed. I don't feel stressed. Like I feel rushed when I don't do something in a timely manner, but stress, no. So how do we find this balance? How do we start? We start with self-awareness. Understand your tendencies, celebrate your achievements, but also be open to growth and learning from others. Recognizing where you stand is a first step. It's always knowing when to reach out for help, for a helping hand, and when to take the lead. Embrace your strengths and at the same time remember that every interaction is a chance to learn and grow. Anytime you interact with people, it's a chance for you to learn something and to grow as an individual. Life's journey is richer when we balance both the support we receive and the paths we carve out for our own self. Um, Another story. Life took an unexpected turn when I became a single mother, compelling me to take charge. At times, even so-called family and friends misled me, causing me more confusion in an already challenging situation. Their deceit, I often couldn't make decisions that truly benefited me, instead leading to the choices that worked against my well-being. When people when people fed me false information, it's nearly impossible to make the best choices for my life, stalling my progress. Initially, the pain, the betrayal were overwhelming, but through faith, I've come to see that the obstacles often pave the way for growth. God granted me the insight to view challenges as a stepping stone. Now I understand that when doors don't open, it's because there's a different path intended for me. My independence was forged not just for the not for from necessity. My independence was forged not just from necessity, but also from the realization that sometimes the help we seek might not be genuine. And in those moments we discover our true strengths. I the independence that I wasn't always independent, but the steps that took place was it was meant for people trying to isolate me. It was meant for me. It was meant for that to happen. It was meant for that to happen. I tell my son all the time that one word, there's always double meaning for a word or for anything. And when somebody means bad for you or does something bad to you, it's always in your best interest. If somebody is being nasty to you and don't want you around, that's because that person ain't right. That has nothing to do with you. That means that you don't need to be in that person's presence. You need to move a different way. So I'm grateful. I'm thankful. The independence was not my ideal, but I'm so glad that it happened. I identify strongly with the independence. I love my independence. It's not that I don't want anyone, but I'm content and satisfied with how my life is going. I like to celebrate my strengths. I like to be open. I'm open to collaborating with people. I recognize the value of support when I do ask for it and when I do get it. I'm able to check in with my emotions and know how I feel and where I'm sitting with people and how everything is working in my life. And I stay connected. I stay connected. Independence does not mean isolation. It means that I'm just not around the people that are not good for me. I'm completely fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. I'm so happy about it. I'm so happy about it. Remember that everyone's journey and experience with independence will be unique. Everybody probably won't have the same experience that I had. Like I'm loving it. Like some people they would think it's isolation. It's not. It's not at all. It's a blessing. Some people may feel like they're isolated. If you do not feel that way. Look on the brighter side, understanding that there always to every negative there's a positive. The key is to find what works best for you while ensuring you live a fulfilling and well-rounded life. My life wouldn't be the same if it was not for God. I always knew, like as a young kid, like, I don't know what it was, but like God was always being talked about. Like God was always being talked about when I was younger. And at a certain point, like they started taking God out of schools and like out of different things that you say and stuff. So for like a good chunk of my life, God was not there. I don't remember even talking about God or anything that has to do with God. But I always knew, like, okay, it's more to life. And when I came, and it seems crazy, but it feels like at a certain age, I came back online with life. Like I was online when I was younger, and then at a certain point, I was taken offline because it's like it's a big chunk that I can't fathom. And with that, God is always, I've always been searching for God, trying to figure out where God is, what's God, all this other stuff. And for those who believe in God's guidance, the path with God is less traveled and you will be misunderstood. But as long as you lead by God, nothing else matters. As long as you let God lead you, nothing else matters. I promise you. You have the confidence that God has outlined a purposeful life, a purposeful path for you. All this coming out. Offering a sense of direction in life. When faced with choices, you might turn to prayer or religious texts to see God's insight, believing it will steer you in the right direction, the best decision. Just going to God, just picking up a Bible. All you got to do, pick up a Bible. You can just thumb it, go through, thumb it a little bit and be like, God, I need a word. Let the pages fall open and read it all through. Do it again if you can't get a connection with it. During challenging times, your faith offers comfort, knowing that they're not alone, that you're not alone, and that God's support is unwavering. When I tell you God will support you through everything. You can come when they say to come to God or come to church as you are or come to God as you are, because God knows who you are. You can pretend all you want to. God knows who you are inside. He knows your soul. And he's like, you might as well come to me. I already know. So you already know what you do. So you might as well just come to me as you are. Oh, I love God, man. It's such a blessing. It's such a blessing. Your actions and your values often align with religious teachings, serving as a moral compass. And that's true. Being if you're religious, I'm spiritual, but if you're religious, it will still, you're still worshiping God. And it will help you to stay on the right path, treating people right, being a good person, living life to the fullest within those parameters. Participating in religious communities reinforces your beliefs, providing a shared understanding and mutual encouragement. Join groups. God is whenever two or more are talking about God, God is in the room. Even I forget how that saying goes, but God is in the room if you're in there by yourself. So God is with you forever. While you trust in God for guidance, you also believe that the possession of free will. You possess free will, allowing you to shape your own destiny. You do have free will. When your free will is taken away from you, that's when you become a dependent. That's when you stop being independent, taking control of your own life because you're now having somebody else navigate for you. Everybody has free will. Let God guide you with. And then I hear people say, well, if you got free will, why do we got to listen to God? The creator? The person that created you? You talking about why you got to listen to God? You are created for a reason. You are created for a reason. And you, and then you say, you don't, God gives you the free will to want to go to Him, want to understand Him, want to travel with Him. Or you can travel by yourself and get whatever comes to you. So, yes, you still have free will. You have a free will to travel with God, and you have a free will to go the other way. But why wouldn't you want a path where God has already paved it out for you? He already got it paid for you. All you got to do is go through it. God's path is to help you know yourself, help you to identify yourself as an individual. The independence, being able to do everything and like be able to do everything yourself, not manipulate, but move through life on your own by yourself. That's God. That's you using everything, utilizing everything God gave you. That's you utilizing every strength, everything that God gave you to make your way through that path. Having God in my life has brought me an unparalleled joy, contentment, and a sense of being truly loved. Like, it's kind of unexplainable, but just knowing that everything, I don't want to cry because that's a touchy subject, but God is so amazing. God is so amazing. Like, if I'm normally just a shy, reserved person, like me getting on here speaking, that's wild in itself. That I'm happy because I know this is where my path is leading. I know this is where God is taking me. I know this. I know it. And I'm so thankful for it. I'm so truly, truly thankful for it. I want to leave you with some questions to ask yourself. When do you lean on others? And what do you choose to stand? And when do you choose to stand alone? When do you lean on others? When are you dependent on others? And when do you feel like you're independent? Are you more independent with having someone take care of you, having someone provide a stable home for you, somebody provide you with money, or can you do all that yourself? Understanding where you are in that aspect will help you to understand how you can navigate the world in your life. What parts of your life make you feel strong and independent? Where do you feel most independent in your life? Is it taking care of yourself? Is it making money? Is it taking care of someone else? Is it taking care of someone else, being a provider? Is it work? What is it? And where do you feel you need help? Where do you feel that you need to be dependent on someone else? Are you able to pay your bills? Do you need help with that? Are you able to feed yourself? Are you able to keep a roof over your head? Can you keep the shelter, the clothes, shelter, clothes, and food? Can you provide those three things for yourself without anybody else doing anything for you? That's a start. That's a start. Having food that you ain't got to go and ask somebody for, a house, not even a house, just shelter, where you are the sole person that's there taking care of yourself, taking care of the bills, doing all that stuff. And do you have clothes? Are you clothed? Or do you need somebody else to do that for you? Where do you lie in that? Where is that? Third question. How do your choices about depending on others or being independent affect your relationships or your decisions? How would your choices about being dependent on others affect your relationship and your decisions? If you're dependent on somebody else for something, how is that affecting your relationship? How is that affecting your decisions? Because if you're dependent on somebody, you're going to need some help. You can't make that decision because you have to go along with whatever somebody else is doing. If you're in a relationship and you're depending on that person, you have to wait till that person is ready to do something. You have to wait till that person has the time for you to do something versus being independent in a relationship and making decisions. If you're dependent in a relationship, you're able to, okay, well, I need to do this. We need to do this. Or if they're on board with that. And the decisions, meaning having an having an independent decision, you're able to make clear and concise decisions without anything else being affected, without taking anybody else into account. Not saying anything about your children. Your children they're going to be your dependent. I'm talking about another adult in your life that you're taking on as a dependent. Those are the things that I'm talking about. Because your children are always their children. If you go on vacation, they're going to be with you. They can have their input, but most of the time it's your say. In conclusion, remember, it's okay to lean on others sometimes. It's okay to be dependent sometimes. And stand strong on your own at other times. It's okay sometimes to lean on people, but it's better to be independent on your own and be able to stand on your own. Not necessarily you got to be on your own, but if you're in a relationship, being independent, knowing, okay, I know how to do this. I'm doing this. I'm paying for this. I'm able to support myself. I'm able to do all this stuff. That's what I mean in relationships. Find your balance and cherish the moments of support and independence in your life. Cherish when people are helping you. Like, I was so thankful when people did help me and give me the correct information that I needed. I was thankful for that. And I extremely enjoy being independent and being making the decisions for my own life without anybody interrupting it or putting in their negative input. So as you go about your week, reflect on where you find your balance. Recognize the areas where you lean on others and where you stand tall by yourself. And if faith is a part of your journey, cherish the serenity and the direction it offers. If God is telling you to go, or if you feel an innate pull, like if you feel a pull to go somewhere or to do something, take that opportunity to do it. Because God is not going to continue to tell you to do it. At some point, he's going to be like, okay, well, you ain't do it after I done told you 16 times. Or I don't even think he's going to ask that many times. I think it's probably like 3. So if he done told you more than 3 times, that's a blessing. That's an extra blessing. But take that opportunity to move in a better direction in your life. Because all you get is one life. Enjoy it, cherish it, and be yourself. Be an individual, be an independent individual. And independence doesn't mean that you don't need, in my case, need a man or anything. It's that, yeah, it's okay. I can have one, but I don't need you. I don't need you to take care of me. I don't need you to do this for me. I don't need you to do that. But if you want to, fine. That's extra. But I'm not going to be sitting here waiting for you to do something for me. That's not going to happen. No. But that's it for today's episode. Here's to finding your true, unique balance between dependency and independence. Keep reflecting, keep growing, and I'll catch you on the next episode. And I moved the episodes to Saturdays because during the week is just too busy for me, and I don't like to feel rushed when I do this. Even today, it feels a little bit, but I was already ready. And during the week, I really didn't like doing it during the week, just because of all the stuff I have to do. The time is still. This is a little late for me, so it's going to be more so in the early, possibly, or more so to the later of the day. But just bear with me, and I hope that you're able to join me next Saturday, and I hope you have a blessed day. Peace.